I don't do the most, but I do a lot. I'ma make a toast, cause we still alive. No big, I feel like Pac. I shoot a shot. I'm coming in hot. Coming in hot. Shoot that. Hey, why not? Yeah, coming in hot. Just like the fajita. I write what I live. My life in the speaker. I'm nice with the flow. Just like the demeanor. I'm feeding my fans.
Welcome back, Flag members. It's Talking It Out with the Commish. Week 2 recap with Derek here. Both of us fresh off of wins, so the vibes are a little bit
Feels
hotter
good.
this week.
Much better than last week, that's for sure.
How's it feel getting on the right track?
I mean, it's always a relief when you get that first one. The more time that goes by, the more the pressure starts to build. So, it's good to at least have that little bit of relief right now.
Definitely, it definitely feels good. I was not doing too well the other day, so now I'm back on the winning track.
Yeah, I was down bad last week too. So
yeah, that was rough. Give me 1 second. Gotta charge up the phone, but we'll be good. Yeah, so we'll get started here. Talking it out with the commish. First things first, as always, calls of the week. What were they thinking? Calls of the week. Kind of like I talked about. You, me, Tyler for a very brief moment. All had bounce back weeks.
Yep.
I was talking to Tyler about it. I mean, as bad as it is for Tyler at this moment, having that win is huge for him because he can now afford maybe a week or two. Obviously,
is it though? John posted that his keeper's leg is gonna get amputated. I don't think
yeah,
there's no glimmer of hope there.
I'm thinking more along the lines of Eckler coming back. Like,
With
obviously,
no timetable.
at least Chubb. I mean, Chubb, like he can just wash that away. But if he can weather the storm for a few weeks, and then I was thinking along the lines of Jonathan Taylor coming back. But
Yeah, I'm better days ahead for the lab, that's for sure.
yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit on the Jonathan Taylor, Eric situation here. But I just wanted to, I was to my second point. Zach Schwinn has an absolute juggernaut, and it's scary.
Yeah. I mean, the crazy part is I don't see his team losing a game, at least for the first 5 weeks. I mean, maybe somebody can get him on a bye week where he's losing one head of the monster, but I mean, his top 3 or 4 are just ridiculous. And then through a couple moves, he's got a pretty deep bench as well. Of course, as we all thought, I don't even know his name, Puka Nakua, came out of absolute nowhere, but
Matata.
Yeah, he was one of those typical like fantasy players that has like a really good week 1, and you're like, there's a 0% chance that he repeats it, and then he repeated it. So, I mean, yeah, stars are aligning for him. I don't want to get his hopes up too early, but I could see him going the entire year, not losing. I think he's projected like 140 or 150 this week already. Like, it's absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's I know I have him in. I don't have him. I guess I have him in 3 weeks. I have a tough Schwint. The Schwint slide. I have Freddie, JT, Eric, Zach, all in a row. So,
I'll say I know it's early, but season is looking like a Schwinn season possibly. Definitely not going good for our fam right now. So I got hit with an injury bug early week 1. Tyler I don't even know what to call that. That just hit him. Zeeb's sort of down bad right now. So, I mean, you're basically our only hope. No pressure, but
Uh,
the repeat's always difficult.
it's the hardest. It's definitely difficult. We'll have to see. A lot hinges on Joe Burrow. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, same for me.
so. Same for a lot of people. Um, it's kind of funny how that works. Um, but yeah. So you said Freddie the new ZS, and I think I know where you're going with this. But
I'm so if you look at Freddie's team, I think he has the most points for right now, and he's 0-2. So like, uh, I know it's Freddie, so he's always optimistic. But at some point, you start to like think, am I just like the new whipping boy? Am I the new Zach Schwinn? Like, am I gonna keep going out there and putting up points just to get absolutely demolished by who's ever going up against me? Um, and then we'll kind of talk about that with the next point. I'm just gonna jump right into it. Eric is the new Jonathan Leonard. It's not a coincidence what's happening. I think he kind of like was able to escape the first week and kind of fly under the radar, but now like it's out in the open. He is Jonathan Leonard. He scraped out a 1-point win against me week 1, scoring 89 points.
mm-hmm.
Typical JL fashion. Didn't score at all, but doesn't matter because he played defense. And there was like a wild series of events that happened in order for me to not win that week. Then he comes out week 2, going into Monday night. Oh, too bad you're going up against Jamal Williams, and he's going to run all over Monday Night Football. Oh, shocker! First drive of the game, Jamal Williams goes down, goes to the locker room. Eric is dead silent the entire time. Then comes in the chat and goes, I really need Pickens to catch a ball. Very next play, 70-yard touchdown to the lad.
Mm-hmm.
Like the most insane series of events. Doesn't say a word during the entire Nick Chubb injury. Everybody else is talking back and forth.
Yeah.
Doesn't even acknowledge the fact that it's happening. And take a wild guess who he plays this week. Oh, that's right, Tyler, with nobody in his lineup. Doesn't even. I think he has an empty running back slot. So he's going into another bye week this week. I mean, he's not playing any offense, but he doesn't have to. He's just playing pure defense and fantasy. I mean, at this point, he could probably pick up an entire team off of waivers, and he's still going to win because that's just like the kind of craziness that he's got going on.
I mean, he resurrected Zach Moss, who now he swears is RB1. Zach Moss has been RB nothing for the last 5 years.
I didn't even know Zach Moss was in the NFL.
Yeah.
And now there's a chance that he's going to be RB1 for that team. It's just it's too much of a coincidence to just keep kind of glossing over like nothing's going on. And the crazy part is I put this on this slide before Monday night even happened. And Eric in the middle of the thing goes, am I the new JL? Which is the most JL possible thing that can happen, is predicting that this is going to happen before even seeing it. So, I mean, the kid is Jonathan Leonard. He needs to be called out. He needs to stop sending the Achilles photos. I'm getting those on random Fridays at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then he just goes, oh, sorry, I'm hammered drunk. No, that's no excuse. Stop JLing me. Stop JLing the rest of the league. You got to just, it's rough right now.
I can't be in a league with 2 JLs. Like I might, like I can't. Like he needs to stop.
You can't be in the league. I got to play him 4 times this year based on those numbers.
Yeah. So I don't know. So you said holding on Rashad Penny.
Yeah, I mean that was the other crap call of the week. Man comes in for like 1 snap, gets a holding call on a touchdown pass to AJ Brown, screws the entire parlay for the squad.
Yes. I didn't know what you meant by that.
Yeah, that was just a dog shit call of the week.
Yeah, that was because that's
putting him in was a bad call. The holding was like it was just everything just went downhill. It was like that's when I knew that things were going to be off to a rough start. The parlay should have been a lock. It should have hit.
I was so happy. I
had to go
in. I'm like, okay, here it is. And then I see like the yellow in the bottom. I'm like, nah, no way.
You got DeAndre Swift running for like 175 yards in the game, and they pull him for 1 play so they can throw a pass. And this man goes and gets a holding call.
Ruined the whole parlay.
I know they just signed him, but Rashad Penny needs to be taken out back and shot in the leg.
That's not far off from another show I listened to on my drive in today. They said absolutely like drop him if he's on any of your teams. He's worthless. He only becomes like relevant if the two guys ahead of him, and even Boston Scott for that matter, would probably take over.
True.
So at this
So
point,
you at least know Boston Scott. You can play against the Giants.
yeah. So they're the calls of the week. A lot to cover there. So our first team all bench, I'm going with two of Eric's guys. I think they're on his team. Gabe Davis,
Yep.
Hollywood Brown. I should throw this out there that I created or we put this slide together before Monday night. I'll be honest, I penciled in Eric with the loss. I like to usually pick people that on their bench that's why they lost. So but they were regardless, they were two players that put up each had touchdowns, 6 catches, doing their thing. So and you went with Zach Schwint's Pine Squad with 131.3 points.
Yeah, I mean, his bench put up 131. I think it was maybe only like 6 guys, and that would have been enough to beat most teams this week.
That would have
Yeah,
been
it's actually going to be a problem.
all but 3 teams.
Yeah, I mean the kid is a problem right now.
Yes. Yeah, it's terrifying. I mean, Mike Evans, DeAndre Swift, Nakua, even Hunter Henry. Like I think Hunter Henry's like he's tight end
He's
2 right
top
now.
3 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kirk Cousins, who's QB1, which is an absolute just slap in the face to you, Derek. I know you were
He
heated
literally
on
sniped
draft
him in the
night.
draft. Obviously, I wanted Kirko Chains, but I wanted him as my backup. But Zach took him as his backup first. Yeah, I mean, that's just salt in the wound at this point. Same thing, he took Christian McCaffrey first overall, and I was like, all right, I was happy at the time getting Jamar Chase, and then so far that's not working out either. But neither here nor there. Like I said, stars are aligning for him. Happy for him. He's had a lot of down seasons, so
Yeah,
he was due. He was due for a big one, that's for sure. And he's coming out swinging this year.
for sure. I want to talk these next, the guys in the 2 slot. I had high hopes for Nico Collins. I wasn't sure how it was going to work itself out just because of the rookie quarterback. I'm not saying Stroud is like going to be great, but I think the Texans are going to be playing from behind a lot, and I think by default Nico's going to be getting 8 to 12 targets a game.
Yeah, I mean, I have him in another league, so I'm thrilled with it too. I think, to your point, they're going to be slinging. However, at the end of the day, it is still the Texans, so
Yes. Tempered.
like I feel like he's that type of guy. Like his ceiling is high. Like he can put up that 24, 25 slot, but then the Texans can come out and put up 7 points as a team in a week, and you're hoping that the receiver can maybe get like an 8-point total. So
yeah,
it's gonna be tough.
I think with us in the 2 flex league, I think he works great. Like single flex, I might be a little more worried to play him. Not worried, but I'd be more hesitant. But the double flex, like
Oh yeah,
that's like that one where you're throwing in for
he's a great second spot because it's like he can basically win you a week.
Mm-hmm. And on the same lines, Kyron Williams. This is a guy.
Yeah,
Totally just was like, F it. I don't want any part of this guy. This is going to be a nightmare situation. And then Cam Akers goes and gets benched.
So Yeah, I mean, I think Kyron Williams is somehow RB2 right now. He's, I mean, he's looked really good. He's looked way better than Cam Akers. I think JT was smart enough to get both.
Yeah.
And the crazy part is, I think I just saw Cam Akers is projected 0 points right now because
Oh,
the
yeah.
Rams are looking to trade him. So JT might actually get another RB1
Mm-hmm.
out of the thing. So
Yeah, JT's.
I mean, he's, as I say,
We talked
that's
about it. JT's
he's got to be feeling
smart.
pretty good about that, especially after down week.
Yeah, he's a smart manager, and we've talked about when players have managers have bad weeks, that usually means the flip is happening. And unfortunately, I'm off of a hot week, and I have JT. So me and JT always seem to have our battles. So definitely not excited to see Williams in the starting lineup for him this week. And lastly, Christian Kirk. I don't know who owns Kirk. Um,
I mean, I know there's no shot that anybody.
it makes sense. The JT Jaguars do.
Oh, okay, yeah.
My bad on that. I should have known that.
I was gonna say I don't think there's any chance that anybody played him this week, though, right?
No.
Well, yeah, it's first team all bench, so.
Yeah, he had 11 catches, 100 yards in a week where people thought Zay Jones was going to be the guy. They thought um, Calvin Ridley coming off of the week he had, and Christian Kirk. I mean, when all three of those receivers are firing, the Jags are going to be tough. Definitely a fun team to root for.
Yeah. And then I put Raheem Mostert up there. 25 points. I think he's on Freddie's team.
Yeah, he is.
Which has to hurt because I think he played Alexander Madison, who looks like a walking pile of trash right now in the field. So, I mean, fortunately, he has Raheem Mostert, so he can make that swap. But it's got to hurt a little bit because he drafted Madison in the expecting him to be the Dalvin Cook replacement, and doesn't seem to be panning out that way for Kings or Freddie.
Yeah, Madison was definitely like on my board. Just didn't go with him. But Madison does scare me. But to your point, Raheem Mostert definitely looks like when Raheem Mostert's healthy, he's a great player. And that offense will open up the holes for him because they love to pass the ball there. So they're not gonna be able to stack a box. So that is our first team all bench. Moving on to the studs of the week. This one, shout out to Eric. Chalky White. We had a little friendly wager. The number was 53 and a half rushing yards. I believe he went over 70. He had a few receptions, a touchdown. Like he looked good. I don't think he has as much success this week up against that Eagles front. We'll see. We'll see where we're. See if he makes the cut this week.
I mean that Buccaneers team in general is just the most bizarre thing coming to this season. I mean, you have Mike Evans, who Zach Schwint couldn't put in his lineup because, and rightfully so. I mean, he has a really deep team, so he didn't need to play him.
True.
But you come in and it's like, it's Mike Evans. He's going to have those random weeks where he gets 6 catches and it's just like a touchdown machine.
Mm-hmm.
But you come in and you're like, all right, he's got Baker thrown to him. Like you have no idea what you're going to get out of him. He's had back-to-back good weeks now. Rashad White looks pretty decent. The Bucks are winning. I think they're 2-0, as everybody would expected coming into this year. They were expected to be an absolute dumpster fire, and somehow they're pulling out wins. Their defense looks good. Their offense is viable right now in the NFL. So I think you're going to get some interesting scores coming out of that team, and I just hope that Zach Wynn does not pick the correct wide receiver each week on that team.
I mean, if it was last year, I would agree with you. Last year, you just couldn't ever seem to make the right call. But things might be changing.
Well, no, it doesn't even matter this year. He could
That's
leave
true.
spots open on this team and still
That's a
win.
good point. Yeah. I actually, so to your point about the Bucks, now I won't go into this for a long period, but I heard, and I don't know, I want to check it out, but I believe it was either the quarterback coach or the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks went to Tampa Bay. So how Geno Smith became Geno Smith. Now
Okay.
they think he might be doing the same thing with Baker, how he was able to like get so like maybe this guy just knows what he's doing.
I
So
mean, that
that's
guy's stock has to be skyrocketing then.
yeah, absolutely. So I mean I've always kind of like had a thing for Baker. A lot of people hate him. I kind of like him, his attitude, but I think he's funny. Um, but it's a good thing for Buccaneers fans because that offense is explosive. They just needed somebody to throw the ball around.
Yeah.
Moving on, you had T Higgins.
Yeah, I had your boy T. Definitely hurt to see a person on that team have a really good game. Obviously helped boost Tyler's team to a win. Seems to be like the only living player still left on his team. So that's at least a small shining light coming out of that roster. But yeah, I mean, T Higgins putting up 25 is definitely painful for anybody that owns Jamar Chase in any league.
Yeah,
No, not sure what's going on with him. Not sure what's going on with Joe Burrow. I mean, I think I sent you a thing earlier today. Joe Burrow is 1-7 lifetime in the first 2 games of the season, so he just comes out terrible, and then next few weeks he usually tears it up. So looking forward to that. Hoping that happens. Hoping Jamar
might have
Chase can get
tore his
back on
calf
track.
up though.
What's up?
He may have tore his calf up, so this he might be tearing something up.
Can he throw?
Yes, I think he can still throw. We'll see.
Okay.
But moving on, you had Saquon, who was an absolute beast. I mean, that
Yeah.
game was horribly good. Like,
I mean that game was just the battle of two awful teams. I
yeah,
mean, Saquon had a rough week 1, so I know Eric was probably not thrilled with that, and you got to hope that he can bounce back. And it was against the Arizona Cardinals, so if there's ever a team to bounce back on, it's them. And went down like 17 or 19-0 early, and you're starting to think like, oh, will this team ever actually score a point this season in the NFL? And then they just kind of turned it up, and Saquon had a monster second half, put up a ton of points. Ultimately got hurt, but in typical Eric fashion, Eric / JL fashion, Saquon goes down. Everybody's like, oh, Matt Breida's the pickup this week. Saquon's going to be out. Quick turnaround. They got Thursday night game. He's probably going to miss 1 week, guaranteed 2 or 3 maybe. No, apparently the report goes out earlier today. He's a fast healer, and they expect him to be back and ready for Thursday night. I legitimately don't know how this is possible.
no, there's no way. That'd be
None of it makes sense.
yeah. That would just be nuts. So
But
yeah, you went with, or I went with Keenan, your boy, definitely the big reason, not the reason, but because you won pretty big. But
Keenan, daddy,
Keenan, we own
I
Keenan
love that man.
in another league. Um, definitely, definitely just like old steady, old reliable.
High targets, high receptions, gets yardage, and the best part is Austin Eckler normally scores about 50 touchdowns a season. So when he's out, those touchdowns go to Keenan Allen.
Yeah. So 27.1 out of Keenan looks good. Not sure what's up with the team overall. I think Staley's got to go. But offensive, Herbert slinging the ball around, so we like to see that. And then I went with Double D's three-headed monster. Hurts, CMC, Justin Jefferson. Must be nice to just leave on Thursday night with hanging like 50, 60 points, whatever it was. It was a lot of points out of his quarterback and wide receiver one, and then factor in CMC. It's gonna
The
be
crazy part is JL tried to stop him too. Like the fumble out of the end zone.
oh yeah. I mean they could have
Easily
more.
could have put up another like 10
Mhm.
plus points.
And then you went with my tight end, Hawkinson.
Yeah.
I like to
I
call
was
him
gonna say
Hawkinson.
you were talking about leaving Thursday with a lot of points. I mean, when you got the tight end slot, which is just a nightmare of a position in fantasy football, and you get 22 points on a Thursday night, that Friday morning at work has to feel a little bit better, I'm sure.
I slept like a baby Thursday night. Felt so good. I woke up refreshed. It was Friday, feeling like everything was good. I mean, like you said, 22 out of a tight end spot, and it's not Travis Kelsey. Like I've never owned Kelsey, so I wouldn't know what that feels like. So 22 felt good. And the Eagles won, so it all worked out.
That
So
best of both worlds.
yeah, so they were the studs of the week. Moving on, we have the duds of the week. And to get things started, unfortunately for JT, we're hitting him hard right off the bat with the Pitts AJ Brown. Is it time to give up on Kyle Pitts?
I was gonna bring up the exact. I think it is.
Like dog,
I thought
he's
last year was
28th
gonna be his
ranked.
resurgence. I mean, they drafted him first. They drafted him in the first round. They were like everybody thought that he was going to be the next Travis Kelsey.
They thought he was going to be better. They were like, "Oh, he's like dual threat. He can just play wide receiver too." Like,
and
how do you mess this up so much?
Here's why the tight end position is so trash. He was supposed to be the next second coming of Travis Kelsey. Travis Kelsey is over 30 years old. He doesn't have that much time left. Once he's out of the NFL, there is nobody. There's nobody. There's nobody that's going to put up anything good ever again. Everybody had high hopes for Dallas Goedert this year. I think he had 0 targets the first game. The tight end position is trash. It's just they're blockers now. It's very bizarre. I mean, they're basically just an added lineman on most days, and then an occasional dump down option. You're just praying that one of their 3 catches in a game is a touchdown.
Yeah, and we might get into this later. We might even get into it right now because I'm just gonna go on. I'll just go with my second, and then you can go to yours. But the Jets defense -1, and we're talking about bad situations. And I know we've had this in the chat a little bit. Some people are pro defense, whatever. Defenses and tight ends. There's only say 5 good defenses, 5 good tight ends. In my world,
Yeah.
we combine defense and tight end. Now everybody has a bigger playing pool, and you're not forced your hand to have to put in a tight end that might get 2 points, they might get 20 points, or a defense that might get -1 points, or they might get 40 points. It's just way too.
Yeah, I mean my defense put up 20 points this week, which I mean obviously helped my point total. It's a little bit absurd, but I ended up picking them up right before Sunday's game. However, I looked at the teams that were out there. Of the defenses that were still available to pick up, half of them put up under 1 point, so they put up 0 or negative, and then the other half were anywhere from 5 to 15. But it's a crapshoot. You're either getting negative points or 10 points. I feel like the points against are too much, and the points for are also too much.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what we do next year. I was looking at, and I think you can lose points based on yards given up, which totally should be a thing.
And you can get points for that too. It's kind of weird. It's a really weird position because an offensive player can give a turnover and then the other team can score on the very next play, and it's you lose 4 points right off the bat, and you're they literally got like 6 yards on the play or 10 yards on the play, like nothing even happened, but the points against just like hit you and it goes down. So yeah, I mean we've been talking about this for a couple of years now. I don't know if it needs to be like a start at 0 and they get points for sacks, picks, touchdowns, stuff like that, but like you just start at nothing and then you can only go up. So that way, you know, when your defense is on the field, you're at least like rooting for them and you're like hoping that something crazy happens instead of like just praying that they don't go negative. You know, we've had people that had to take their defenses out on Sunday night, Monday night, and like we want to see
I
teams
thought
more high
about it.
points. So yeah,
I sat there and
like we're trying to get high points so you can like get money and stuff, and it's like
and that's
you shouldn't have to take people out of your lineup to do that because you're not going to take out like a quarterback or your top wide receiver or anything like that. But yeah, and like maybe if it's even something like we switch from a defense to like a defensive player, so somebody can have like a Micah Parsons or somebody else to like root for, where you're at least like excited when they take the field.
Yeah, well, we might have to like dig in there and explore some potential options. Dalvin Cook. I mean,
I talked about Madison, but
he fell off.
I mean, I was gonna say I feel bad for Zeebs. Dalvin had a rough week, and then I think Josh Jacobs had like -9 yards rushing, or something. It was like something absurd. He had like almost 10 touches for -7 yards or something. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, I think I texted you that stat line. I was like,
so
9 attempts for -2 yards.
Yeah, I mean, it hurts to see Dalvin Cook putting up no points, and then right below him I have Madison, who is Dalvin Cook's old replacement, also putting up no points.
Yeah.
You just you hate to see it.
Yeah. I went with Dame Pierce, another running back. This was just more of a backhanded slap to Eric. He wants to talk shit on Shoddy White.
I'll say Chatty on the studs, Dame on the duds. That's a tough.
Yeah, and they were drafted, I think, 3 picks apart. So we're just having a little fun there. But I am somewhat concerned just because, like I said, that offense going to be a pass heavy offense unless Pierce gets more involved in the passing game. You know, his value is tough. Like I don't know how many touchdowns he's going to get. So they're gonna have to be in some positive game scripts. I still like the guy. I still like him. I think like he's a good flex play. But I wouldn't necessarily be feeling him as a RB1 or anything like that at this point. Which in the beginning of the season I would have said he could probably be RB2.
Yeah, I mean I had him kind of like on my draft sheet as like an RB2.
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's a long season. Better days ahead.
Yeah.
So that's the duds of the week. Quickly run through the standings. Eric at 2-0. Daddy Doubles at 2-0, both leading their respective divisions.
Like you have 2-2-0 teams out there. What a wild difference between the two and how they got there.
Yeah, and I don't think I've seen this early in a season have only 2-0 teams.
Yeah.
That's tough. It's like because there's 4. What is that?
Do they play each other this week? Yeah.
Who?
They don't.
No.
It does.
But then we have 6 1-1 teams. We have you, Tyler, and Turtle at 1-1. Myself, JT, and JL at 1-1. And then unfortunately we have some 0-2 teams, Zach and Freddie. But we can kind of head into the sulk meter. And we can go through those teams and we can decide where everyone should be, how we think they're feeling at this point. So, I will say Eric. We'll go Eric first. How what are we thinking there?
I mean, Eric has been very vocal,
Mm-hmm.
but there's no way that man can like his team. I mean, he just has to like the voodoo that he's putting out. But I know it's week 2, or we're going into week 3. He's still got to be at it's just week 1 because, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I feel like his team has just dudded twice, and he's still got 2 wins.
Yeah.
So, like, he has to hope that his team turns it around, but at the same time, like, there's definitely some worry there.
Yeah. I would agree. See if I can make a little edit there. So I would agree with you. I think he's enjoying the view. I think Eric likes to talk himself into situations. So I think he's trying to talk himself into it's his year. Just he's 2-0. He's feeling it.
There ain't no shot that team goes up against Daddy Doubles. And
Yeah, but he
actually,
doesn't.
maybe with his defense, something
He wouldn't
happens.
have
Chris
to in
McCaffrey goes
the
down.
championship. So
Yeah.
Obviously, Daddy Doubles. It's his year. That's how, and he's feeling that, and there's no other possibility.
Yeah.
That doesn't. We don't even have to get into that. This is where it gets a little more fun because there are so many 1-1 teams. Well, we can do the 0-2 team. So, Zach Bear. I was with Zach on Sunday watching the games.
Okay.
Typical Zach had to take his nap in the middle of it all.
The classic.
Yeah, the classic Zach move. But then like he would just like randomly like hear a player and he'd be like slip Evan Ingram, and then he'd just like pop his head up. So like we were watching the Chiefs game. That was a tough game to watch. Like Patrick Mahomes definitely not his best game. Very frustrating. But I think I'm not gonna say he's down bad, but it's
I was
definitely
gonna put him in this. This is not ideal. I mean, he's
trending
he's
towards
0-2, so he's 1 loss away from being down bad. I think that's where he's at right now. So he's not quite there yet, but he's on the fence. Definitely not ideal. I think his team is still good.
Yeah.
It's just he's just in a little bit of a weird situation, but you have to assume that running backs are going to bounce back and he'll be fine.
Yeah. And then Freddie.
I don't think Freddie has a down bad in his vocabulary. I think he's the most optimistic person I've ever seen. So I honestly think it's just week 2, same as his brother. But at some point you start to worry when it's like, oh, it doesn't really matter what I do because the other person just absolutely goes off. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how you feel, but like if I was him, I'd be happy that my team is doing well, but also not happy that I don't have a win from it.
So the issue I have that he's down bad because he unfortunately has to play Zach Schwinn.
Oh yeah, never mind. He's down atrocious right now.
Yeah, so he's like
because that means he's gonna have another good week and still get cooked.
Yeah, it's not like he thinks that he's like has a bad team. It's just a really unfortunate series of the first 3 games, and it starts to amount.
Yeah, he's down horrendously.
Yeah,
he's gonna have like most points for it and just zero wins.
Yeah, it's not great. So they're the two. So that's the 2 0-2 teams, and then and we already did the 2-0. John Leonard just I don't even know if he cares. I sent him a text like today. I'm holding both of the backups to his starting running backs, and one of them could play standalone value in a flex if needed. The other probably not, but just was like, hey John, like you interested in this? An hour later, get the not sure. I go, okay, no problem. I don't like. Why wouldn't you be sure? Like, and why aren't you following up? No follow up. Just leaves me with the not sure.
I
Like,
mean, you gotta drop them now because it's over.
oh yeah, that at this point that means they're
But
worthless.
you want to
So.
talk about being down bad? I literally dropped my phone today, and it somehow calls John. So I like pick it up. I see that it's calling his phone. I immediately hang up. I'm like, okay, good. Like 0 seconds on the phone call. Sitting there like they're okay. Like it didn't go through. Not a big deal. Didn't hear from him. Driving home on my way home from work. Text me, goes, hey, you called me? I was like, I play him this week. That is an awful like the fact that I dropped my phone and it just miraculously calls John is never good. Never good. I'm
How
not
about
optimistic for what's about to come.
yeah? How about we're at baseball practice today? And this kid has this bat. Like I've never seen this bat, and it's like very like odd. Like it had different graphics. It was really cool. So I'm like, oh, what is this? Like pick it up. DeMarini Voodoo. I'm like, this gotta stop. It's gotta stop. He's coming out of like he's coming out
Yeah,
of
and the
some
kid's like,
false
oh,
bottom.
that's the new voodoo.
Yeah, they're like,
He
oh
goes, yeah,
yeah,
that's the
that's
new
the
voodoo.
new
You've never
voodoo,
seen
and
this
we're like,
before.
oh. I like show it to Derek, and he like about like loses it. So I would say for him, he's enjoying the view because I'm sure he is. He's enjoying us all
He's
summer.
always enjoying the view. I
Yeah,
mean, he's sending home run videos after Nick Chubb needs his leg amputated. Like he's always enjoying the views.
yeah. So how about Turtle? Turtle's team is interesting to me because I like his team.
Same. I really like Turtle's team. I think he's still enjoying the views. I don't think he's. I mean, he's 1-1. He's definitely had worse teams, worse seasons. I think he probably kind of likes where his team is. I like his team. Um, and
I,
I like.
yeah,
I
he's
think he's going to be competing for a playoff spot for sure.
yeah. As I said it last week, he has Kamara coming back in a week. Javante Williams, who I think is just keeps getting more and more work, and I think he becomes stronger, better, faster. Um, and then his team's solid. Like we went through it last week. Michael Thomas is starting to get more looks. So I would say he's in between. It's just week 2 and enjoying the view. I don't know if he really is anything other than that. Like he's not. I wouldn't say he's like he enjoyed losing this week, but he also is like, yeah, whatever. It's just week 2. Like take the loss and move on type thing. Um, Tyler
Down
is
bad, down bad. I mean, there's nowhere else he can. He's down horrendously.
Tyler
There is
is
no other
underneath the
spot.
bus. He's flattened on the pavement.
Yeah, I mean, prayers out for the kid. Uh,
I mean, I looked at his team this morning and he didn't even have an option to fill a running back slot. And
yeah,
he has 1, 2, 3.
I'm telling you, he's got it's Eric. Like
He
Eric is
has
doing it. This is
6
a
running
typical
back
JL
droppers.
move. Yeah, this is a typical JL move. You take out the players before you even play them, so it's like, oh, this is just coincidence. It's it's all part of it.
Yeah, he can't be doing too well at this point. It's a rough one. Did we did JT?
Not yet. Now
Okay, JT. Um, I know JT enough to know that he's gonna say it's just week 2. I don't think he.
I
Go
think he's
ahead.
slightly better. I think JT's actually enjoying the views. He had a really good week 1. Obviously, he was feeling it, and then week 2 was a dud. But he's lucky because he should have players coming off of a bounce back, and he's going up against you.
Yeah.
So if he's ever gonna like have a bounce back week and beat somebody,
Yeah,
it's
should be it.
probably gonna be against you, unfortunately.
Yep.
And he's got Kyra Williams. He might have Cam Akers as a running back. And like he has enough bench options, and I think this week was his team's low point. So, but at the same time, he's also riding and dying with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I also think AJ Brown goes for 2 this week. I think.
Yeah, especially after the little
Yeah.
spat with Jalen
They're
Hurts.
gonna feed him the ball. So
JT and ZS will be toasting as the one throws a touchdown to the other.
yep. So yeah, I can see where you're at there. He definitely is not in the. This is not ideal because looking at his team, his projections are around 129, which is most
I
people.
mean, he's fine. Your division's definitely rough. I mean, you're the person in last in your division has more points than I think everybody in my division. So,
Which is scary if you're on that 3-4. Like if Freddie gets into that 4 slot, because
yeah, if he gets a
gonna
couple wins, he's gonna bump people
he's
out. But
gonna jump you. So um yeah. So then it looks like it's down to me and you. Um why don't you do I think you're well, I know you're always down bad at all times. But I'm gonna go you're in the this is not ideal. I don't think you're full down bad, even though you did text me at 9 o'clock this morning saying I want to blow up my whole roster. But
yeah,
that's about
I was gonna
typical
say
for week 3.
I will never get above. This is not ideal. That's just my constant state of being.
Yep.
Um, but I also don't think I'm on this scale. I think I'm just a separate section, which is like, please trade with me and change my players. I have zero attachments to anybody. So, Zach Schwint, if you want a 4-headed monster and want Jamar Chase, who's ultimately got to come back, let me know. Yeah. So I'm always down to blow up the team. I'm always one loss away from wanting to kill myself. So that's just where I am. It's never going to be the yellow.
Never goes past yellow.
Nah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that's about right. And for me, what do you think?
Free. I honestly think that you're enjoying the views. I
I'm
think
gonna
you have a
enjoy the
decent.
view all year because I hold the trophy.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I get to
You
look at
are
that
kind of in a
thing.
win-win situation. Like if you win, awesome. If you don't, who cares? Like you have the trophy. So I think you're just kind of like permanently in that spot, and you have a good team. You have a lot of decent guys on the bench that you can put in, and I think in typical fashion, you'll probably get a couple random bench guys off of waivers and end up flipping them for a starter from somebody.
Typical. I mean, start the Ford, baby. He's already on the roster. Um, so yeah, so that is the Salk meter. I will do better next week and make sure that this is updated. Um, and moving on to the build a parlay, because all the legs, all the props are they're not out yet for the Thursday night game. Derek and I came up with a pretty solid 4-leg parlay. Just what the kids call me is Moneyline Matt. I've been hitting on the money lines in college lately, so we're saying take all the favorites in these games for the money line. 49ers versus Giants. I mean,
I had a lot of confidence in this until you just called yourself Moneyline Matt, and now I think that there's a 0% chance this hits.
I,
So
I can't.
vlog members, do not tail this. It is a guaranteed loss. There is no shot that Moneyline Matt is picking a winner on this one.
Moneyline Matt. So we got the 49ers. I mean, this is not going to hit. Let's just be honest.
No, so somebody, it's probably going to be Jacksonville's going to somehow lose to Houston. I'll just say, for those of you who don't know like who's playing who, 49ers are at home against the Giants, so they should be winning there. Jacksonville's at home against Houston. Dallas is playing Arizona, so that shouldn't matter at all. And the Bears are going into Arrowhead to play the Chiefs.
So that game
I have this
scared for me.
Oh yeah, because the Chiefs are weird. But like the Chiefs at Arrowhead are different though.
That's
And the Bears are absolute trash. I mean, Justin Fields is an experiment gone wrong. Dude is on an awful team. I got lucky. The Buccaneers had a pick 6 against them, and the defender, they asked him like, "Oh, what was your read on that play?" And he was like, "They ran the same screenplay like 11 times with the exact same formation." That was his interview. He was like, "It was the most obvious play call in the world." I mean, that team is trash. It is what it is. There's no way they go into Arrowhead and pull out a win against the Chiefs. The NFL is not going to allow it. The NFL is like, if there is a script and they love Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, like they're not letting the Chiefs lose to the Lions week 1 and then the Bears week 3.
That's fair. But yeah,
refs are going to be on their side.
These all seem pretty safe ones. Obviously nothing's safe in the NFL is all just messed up. But if you were to just look at the pure power versus who the opponents are.
I was just say, anybody with multiple betting apps, I got this on DraftKings at -106.
Okay.
So the odds are just slightly better. I think these
odds
are FanDuel, correct?
Yeah, so that would get you pretty close to about a $15 payout for you.
Yeah. So I put 2 units on it.
Okay.
That was before I knew that you were Moneyline Matt. So if I could go back and redo it, I would.
If anybody needs college football picks, 3-0 so far. So just let me know.
I'll send them over. I also plan on sending out an Eagles parlay at some point later this week. I basically wake up in the morning, go to work, and spend the first like hour to 2 hours just cooking up different parlays for specific games. So
it's just fun.
I might drop one on Thursday. We'll see, but
my work friends like to call me degenerate Matt.
I would tail that all day.
They usually hit me up at around like 11:30, 12 o'clock on Sunday. What do you got cooked up there, degenerate Matt? So yeah, I'm just here to serve you guys. So that's our build a parlay. Hopefully we can get some money in the bank here.
We got to make back that money from last week.
So let's get a win. And then finally, so last week, I was 2-3. Eric was 2-3. Pretty similar across the board here. I'm taking Turtle just to keep things interesting.
I was gonna say I would like to flip my first choice to JT. I think after considering things. So I don't know if it's too late to do that, but
no, we can.
After consideration, I think his team bounces back. Like you were high score, he was low score. We've already seen that flip once. I think there's a good chance that might happen again.
All right. So yeah, I just updated it to JT. I would agree there. I'm gonna still stick with myself. But
I mean, you gotta have faith in yourself. I think
it's
have myself on there.
It's definitely going to be good. I think it should be a good match. I think like on paper, it's two pretty high scoring teams. Turtle. I'm taking Turtle. You're taking Zach.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
both.
I think Zach has a bounce back. Like I said, he's 0-2. I feel like he gets his first win this week, and we're left with only one
Yeah.
0 team.
Well, Eric's gonna just keep playing defense. He already snapped Chubb's leg.
If Eric loses this week, I mean that'll be a miracle.
Yeah, it's not happening. ZS versus Fredo. We got Z. I'm taking ZS. You're taking ZS. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean Freddie, get the KY out. It's gonna be a long weekend, my guy.
Yeah. Definitely tough. And then
I mean, this is the lock. Like this is the lock of the week. There's not even a question here. What's gonna happen?
This is like probably going for JL like plus 200 right here. This is where you throw a lot of money and people are like, "What are you? You're crazy."
You can pretty much put your mortgage on this. It's the lock of the century.
The question is, how many players do you walk away with hurt?
That's the real betting line. Over under. Do I have a roster for next week?
I'll put it at 1.5 players hurt.
I mean, I was gonna say Jamar Gibbs is guaranteed to get hurt this week. You can pencil that in just from the start,
I think it's gonna be Jamar Chase.
He could already be hurt for all I know. Like
only because of who he holds.
Oh right, he's got Tyler Boyd because that man is rostered in 0.1% of leagues. Yeah, I mean Jamar Chase is probably going to die.
So, I believe that is it. Did you have any final words? Anything else?
Final word, nah. I mean, it should be a fun week. I think this is like the first week that we start to see some. Well, Eric and Tyler's kind of inner division. Me and JL is just inner demons.
I mean, this is where things for me. I'll finish with this.
Like
this
you and JT is a big matchup. I think you and JT are obviously the matchup of the week. That's going to be the one that everybody wants to follow most closely. And then yeah, I mean like Turtle has a chance to put Zeebs down.
Everyone wants to follow your matchup.
There's no like everybody's going to follow it, but there's no need to.
Oh, we're just here for the excitement. Like, let's get the popcorn and see what John's got cooking.
You know what? I might as well just send it to him now.
Not the congrats text on air.
Yeah, I just sent it on air.
Oh boy,
it's a wrap. Like I cannot beat the kid. I smoked him in the championship for my first ever ship, and that was the downfall. Ever since then, he has just made it his mission to make fantasy terrible for me.
And he has succeeded mightily.
Flying colors, yeah.
But for me, this is off the cuff, like just thinking about it. Like this is where week 3 is when like you start noticing like which players are like, because some people are unsure about who's the starting running back, how's the playing going to work out? Like, is it going to be 70-30? Is it going to be 60-40? This is where like you start to actually see like for me, like, is it going to be DeAndre Swift or is it going to be Kenneth Gainwell or is it going to be pretty split? Like, it's going to be real interesting to see who stabilizes in their positions. And
yeah, I think some people like already kind of know what their team is, and then other people like this is kind of their deciding week. They've maybe made a couple like tinkers in the first couple of weeks, and now they're trying to see where this week goes, and then after this, they'll pretty much be solidified as to like these are the people that I'm starting pretty much every week. Maybe like a couple switch outs that they can do for matchups, but it's also where people start to realize where their holes are. If if people go 0-3, they probably start to look to make trades. People that are, don't have a loss, they're probably also sitting there like, well, maybe I can like trade some. If you have like a really deep team, you can maybe flip like a couple bench players for like a really good starter and like make your starting lineup even better to the point where, if you don't really have many losses, you're like, all right, well, I'm starting to look ahead to the point where I need the best possible team going to the playoffs as I can. And then you have the other teams that are trying to like just change their team up and get some depth to get to the playoffs.
Yeah. No, the week 3, 4 is like, that's like real key. Like this is where things are like really starting to become more cemented in to your identity. So really excited to see where this goes. And good luck to everyone. Derek, wish you the best. Did he answer you?
Oh, I just threw my phone after I sent it. So, yeah, he texted me, said it's Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, I wonder what he'll be up to this Sunday.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not gonna be home.
So
he's gonna send me the text. I'm with my girl right now. Good luck.
He did not say that. Anyways, good luck everyone, and we'll be back next week.